Welcome to the Chopping Block Studios with your host, Marvin Lee. This is the Chop with Marvin Lee. And this week, my sponsor is actually calling me right now. Um, and it's funny because he knows that I record my podcast at this time. Um, uh, Let me respond to this really quick. Uh, Okay, there we go. Again, this is the Chop with Marvin Lee, and I've been sitting here trying to figure out what I was going to talk about tonight because the guest that I had in mind wasn't able to join me tonight, which is okay. Because again, this is the Chop with Marvin Lee. So whether you're chopping with me and the guest or chopping with me alone, we're going to chop, and you're going to get something that is going to be beneficial for you. Because I believe in food for the soul. I have food for my soul that is healthy for me. The same way as I feed my natural body, I feed my spiritual self as well, because I'm on a quest to ascend to my higher self and connect with my higher self, which means that that lesser self, that lesser plane, that lesser energy, I have to be mindful of, I have to be aware of, I have to be cognizant of, what is present so that I can change that. And I do that by being aware. The mindfulness, the awareness to be in the present right here, right now, because this is all that I have is my present. And I want to share something. I'm going to read something. It was a post that I saw on Instagram, and I actually posted it on my page. And it says, "Are you in your energy or someone else's?" Something to routinely examine and ask yourself. It's easy to absorb feelings, energies that were never yours to begin with. This is why energetic cleansing is highly necessary. Shield yourself with your practice, aura, and discernment. And again, I've shared with you guys that I have a religious upbringing, and I've never had a problem with spirituality. I've never had a problem with God, but I've always hated religion. Again, religion is anything that tells me something is wrong with me. It's not for me. And religion is something that has told me that something is wrong with me. Religion is something that has convinced me that, God didn't love me, that, it caused me to fear God, right? The God of my understanding, the source of my strength, the source of my help. It's always been something that has hindered my growth, my spiritual progress. It's made me feel less than when God has said that I'm more than, right? But and I said all that to say this, after having read that, one of the scriptures in the Bible that I really love, it says to guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. And when we're talking about cleansing our energy, with our aura and things of that nature, basically you're guarding your spirit. Everything spiritual is not a good spirit. So when people tell me that they're spiritual, demons are spiritual too. So I need you to be more specific. What kind of energy is present? My job is to discern the energy that is present, because I can't allow anybody to get me in my feelings. I love when people say, I'm in my feelings, or, whatever the case is, I'm in my feelings. I don't want to be in my feelings. I want to be the master of my emotions. And what that means for me is if a person can manipulate, or if I can be easily offended, then that means that I can be easily manipulated. And I want to be that person that I'm able to always connect with Marvin and discern the energy that is present to figure out, what is it that's really happening? Because for me, I can respond. And I had something that happened to me earlier, and I'm positive is I don't know what. Like, I'm one of those people, I'm always saying, you can't help it if a bird flies over your head, but you can keep the bird from building a nest. And that is true. But that's not to say that even I am not going to be tempted with a negative thought or with a negative emotion or a negative trigger. It just illustrates the fact that I have to always maintain that awareness in the moment to understand that, I'm not responsible for what somebody else says or does to me. I am responsible for how I respond and how I react. Now, there is a disclaimer. As inspirational and as motivational as I am, I'm not perfect. And I was about to say yet. I'm never going to be perfect. And I'm not going to justify my actions or my behavior, but I hope that I'm never in a situation where I have someone that puts their hands on me because I'm not strong enough yet to turn the other cheek. I'm one of those people that I'm going to match the energy. If you put your hands on me, we're going to have some problems. And I'm not going to say you don't want to smoke because I'm not smoke. I'm a fire sign. I'm bringing all the fire, all the heat. But again, and I say that because of awareness, and I know what I just said, but I have to remove the ego in that moment. I have to be so aware of ego because ego can get me into a lot of trouble. I have to humble myself in that moment. And, I'm one of those people that the incident that occurred earlier, I am a member of a 12-step fellowship, and something that I've been doing, I don't mind sharing this. I'll break my own anonymity because, again, I don't mind doing this because maybe someone else is struggling with addiction. Maybe somebody else has behavioral issues that they need to reach out to somebody about. And I want to be transparent with the things that I've struggled with in my life because I want you to know and I want you to understand that there's always a way out. There is always a way there from here. There is always light in the darkness. There's always hope in what seems like a hopeless situation. There's always faith to root out the fear. There's always courage to get me to that next phase in my life, whether I can be or what have you. But again, I mentioned that I'm in a 12-step fellowship, and I chair meetings in this particular fellowship. And I've been doing this now since I've had roughly 6 months clean. And next Monday, coincidentally, I'll have 4.5 years to the day, 4.5 years clean. So I've been doing this almost 4 years, and I take great joy and I take pleasure because it's a privilege and an honor to be able to bring people to share messages of hope, to enlighten, encourage, uplift, motivate other people. This is something I love doing. And there's this one particular individual who A, is homophobic, and who B, has control issues. And there was an instance where, because things weren't going the way they thought they should go, meanwhile, I'm the person that is chairing the meeting that I'm responsible for maintaining the atmosphere of recovery, and I'm responsible for adhering to the group conscience in this particular group, in this particular fellowship. And I wasn't out of order with anything that I did, but in the moment, because of something that had happened, they had something snarky to say from the floor. And I am one of those people that if I know what I'm doing, don't challenge me. Don't try me. Don't step to me. Don't do any of that because in that moment, something triggered. And I have grown a lot. But in this moment, there was something that I literally felt this energy in me that was an unwanted and an unwelcome energy. But it was in the moment and it happened so fast that I think that I did a good job handling the situation the way that I did. However, I did get a little snarky back. Because the meeting was not supposed to end until 5:25, and it was 5:22. But they wanted the meeting to end when they wanted it to end. And well, when you chair your meetings, you chair how you want to chair. But I got this today. Mind your business. Stay in your lane. And I felt that kind of energy rising up in me. And in that moment, I had to stop myself and check my ego. And it was happening so fast in my face. Again, I have one of those tell on me faces that regardless of what I'm thinking, if my mouth hits the brakes, my face is all gas, no brakes. So at the end of the day, even if I don't say it because I'm in a place now that I understand that just because I can't say something, it doesn't mean I should. That's growth because I used to I did not care what came out of my mouth. I just did not care. And sometimes today I just, I care, but I'll just let something slide out anyway, just because I want to respond. I'm not perfect. But again, my face, all gas, no brakes. So it was quite apparent that in that moment I was triggered, I was frustrated, or what have you. So I handled the situation to the best of my ability and went on about my business. And I said all that to say this, that even in the face of other people having an issue with something that we do, we have to still ask ourselves, are we in our energy or are we in someone else's energy? And in that moment, I allowed myself to step into someone else's energy. And I had to check myself, and I had to do an energy cleanse really quick so that I could come back to the center of who I am, the truth of who Marvin is. Uh, um, because at the end of the day, if I'm easily offended, I can be easily manipulated. And I don't want anything or anybody to ever have that kind of control over me. I don't want to allow anything or anybody to live rent free in my head. I don't want to be so in my feelings that I don't have the ability to relate to someone else or what have you. So again, I had to discern the energy that was present, and it takes practice. It's taking practice for me. But again, I handled it differently today than I would have handled it 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, and very much so differently than I would have 4 years ago, because I was a whole ball of fire 4.5 years ago. In a place of brokenness, and because of that, because of where I've come from and the things that I've experienced and seen in my life, I have made a conscious decision and decided to be deliberate in my intentions to guard my heart with all diligence, because I want the best version, the most authentic, the most genuine version of myself to always be presented to others, not because I'm trying to get recognition or popularity or anything else, but because I'm doing the right thing. I'm being true to who I am. I'm standing in my truth, and that allows me the opportunity to have an impact on other people and to be influential, to stand up in the face of adversity and be who I know that I am. I'm not a doormat, so I don't allow people to walk over me. But in so doing and honoring myself, I don't have to dishonor anyone else to honor myself. I just set my own boundaries. I set standards, and I advocate for me. I've learned how to advocate for other people because I know that I can't do for other people what I lack the capacity and the ability to do for myself. So again, we're talking about energy here, and how to recognize an energy that is a good energy, or if it's a bad energy. Again, discernment is nothing more than a keen awareness of the things that affect us. So again, I'm spiritual. Okay, well, so are demons. So be more specific. I want to be that person that can discern if an energy is productive, or if it is constructive for me, if it is something that allows me to feel peaceful, to feel serene, to feel calm. That is a positive energy. If it is something that is raising the hair on the back of my neck, or if it is something that is agitating me, or if it is something that is disturbing to me, it more than likely is not a positive energy. It's a negative energy. And I have to make a conscious decision in that moment to either respond to or not respond to the energy. If it is negative, I got to be alert enough, keen enough, aware enough to shut it down, but in an effective manner. So again, for me, I have to be spiritually conditioned. And what that looks like for me is I spend a lot of time, whether it's in meditation, whether it's praying, and prayer is nothing more than talking to God. Meditation is nothing more than sitting there and listening and allowing God to speak to me. I set aside a regular time where I'm able to do just that, to pray and to meditate. Because again, I never know who I'm going to be interacting with. I never know who's going to interact with me, but I have to always be aware enough and alert enough, again, because I'm guarding my heart. And one of the ways that I guard my heart is by monitoring what I see and monitoring what I hear, because what I hear and what I see is going to affect what I speak, because what I see and what I hear is going to sink into my heart. And then out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth is going to speak. So I'm cautious and I'm careful, because I could say something that hurts you. I could see something that's going to hurt me. I could hear something that is going to hurt me. And if I take enough garbage in through my ears and through my eyes, eventually that garbage is going to come out. So I'm consciously mindful of that. so that I can continue to ascend to that higher self, so that I can avoid issues such as the incident that I described earlier. Um, but something that I also am really big on now is just really just that self-love and checking the energy. That is a way that I honor myself. Self-love is a way that I honor myself because I don't even care about getting the last word anymore. 9 times out of 10, it's not that I'm trying to get the last word. I'm not going to argue. I'm not even going to explain why I'm right. I'm not doing any of that. I choose not to engage with certain energies because, again, my energy flows where my attention goes, and not everybody is deserving of my energy. Not everybody is deserving of your energy. Uh, I like the phrase, just the best way to get a person back is just the best response is no response sometimes. I'm still learning that. I know it, but again, I'm still learning that. The best response is no response because, it shows growth. And my honest desire is to be the master of my emotions. I don't want my emotions to master me. Again, if my emotions master me, I can be easily manipulated. I can be easily controlled. And that's not something that I want for myself. And I'm quite sure that that's nothing that any of us would want for ourselves. Um, I want to be able to practice self-discipline. I want to be able to practice self-control. I want to be humble. I want to be meek. Um, there's so much I can say about meekness. A lot of people think that meekness is weakness, and that's not true. Meekness is strength. Meekness is power. Meekness is power under control. Oftentimes I tell people, don't think that the beast within me is sleeping or dead. Don't think that the beast within is sleeping or dead. I was just quiet and very alert and watching. Uh, and I respond and I react accordingly. And I can say that I'm proud of myself for where I am and the growth that um, I've experienced in my life. Um, and today is there's something different about today for me. Today is September 11th, and coincidentally, I know that 9/11 happened 22 years ago, but even before 9/11, this happens to be the day of my dad's birthday, or the day of my dad's birth. He would have been 82 years old had he lived um, to see it. And there's not a day that goes by. I'm a 50-year-old grown man. And there's not a day that goes by that I don't miss my father, that I don't wish that I could have one last conversation, one last hug, one last laugh, whatever. Just if I could have just one more. Um, and a lot of times I wonder how my life could look had my dad, not been taken from me at such a young age. He passed away when I was 14. I was about to turn 15, so he's been gone now 35 years. Um, and I'm grateful for the memories that I was able to create with him, and I'm grateful for the man that I've become, and I see him in me more now than I ever have. Um, and it's just amazing that I was a kid at the time when my dad passed away, and here I am, a full-grown adult male, doing this thing called life. And if you are finding yourself in the midst of struggle or in the midst of no matter what it is, um, there's a way out, no matter where you are. I don't care what your problem is, there is a way out. And one thing for me, I've learned that if I don't go within, I will go without. And what that looks like for me is I've always been one of those people in life that I've run from myself. I've run from my emotions. Remember, I said that I want to master my emotions. I don't want my emotions to master me. And one of the reasons that I can say that I was an active user of substances for so long is because of that inner chaos, that inner conflict, that inner turmoil. I was constantly trying to avoid and evade um, and escape all of that. And the thing that I kept trying to run away from, I kept running back into. And when I would run back into it, I was trying not to feel, I was trying to escape that reality. So what that looked like for me was illicit substances, something that would give me the ability to step outside of myself or what have you until I finally had had enough and realized that if I want to shift this energy and if I really want to connect with my higher self, I have to be willing to confront these feelings and these emotions that I'm feeling, no matter how traumatic they are. I talk about the trauma bank that we have. A lot of us carry these emotional traumas. And again, a trauma can be something as simple as a parent whipping you and then telling you to, stop crying before I give you something to cry about and making you suck it up. You're hurting because in that moment, I don't feel like this is nurture. I don't understand it as a child. I'm looking at this as a beating. That can be traumatic. A father leaving, whether it's a separation, divorce, death, whatever, that's traumatic. Being bullied by somebody else, that's traumatic. Painting a picture for your parents and you bringing it home, you're proud of that picture, and they treat it like it's just, they're dismissive of it. That can be traumatic. There's so many different things that can be considered trauma. It doesn't, seeing a sibling in a domestic a violence situation, that's traumatic. The death of loved ones, that's traumatic. It's so many different things. It doesn't have to be the death of someone because of a horrific car accident. It doesn't have to be seeing someone blown to smithereens in war. It doesn't have to be a tragic loss. It can be anything that I just stated. It can be leaving a relationship that you've been in for so long and having to come to terms with the fact that this person is no longer going to be your significant other, whatever that looks like for you. We have these trauma banks that remain full, and we never, a trauma bank is unlike a natural bank account. They never go in the negatives, never goes in the negative. That trauma is always sitting there waiting to be dealt with. So again, with me, what I was doing is I was trying to find ways to get around those feelings and emotions and traumas that I was feeling or what have you. And I finally got to a point that the only way to the higher self is to go through the pain that has settled into keeping me in my lower self. So again, the only way to is through. So the only way for me to deal with the pain was to get through the pain. I had to acknowledge the pain. I had to feel the pain. And that takes courage. But for me, what that courage looks like was, you know what, I'm sick and tired of feeling this way. And I want to get outside of this without using an illicit substance to help me escape, because that's not healthy. And so I finally had the opportunity to sit with myself and process some things and begin to work on me and the version of me that has come to the forefront today. This is 4.5 years of hard work of doing what I had to do and not what I wanted to do. And I'm really grateful for that process. I'm grateful for what it looks like. So again, the energy that is present today, I honor myself by making sure that I'm always checking the energy that is that I'm always exuding, the energy that I'm always allowing into my space. Because again, not everybody is deserving of my energy. Not everybody is deserving of my energy. And that's not that I'm thinking more highly of myself than I ought to. No, my energy flows where my attention goes. I am not going to allow my energy to flow to places where it is not welcome. I will not allow my energy to flow to places where it is not welcome. There's so many things that I want to do in my life, even now. And that's part of what this podcast is about. And again, I have some amazing changes that are ahead for me, even regarding this podcast. Some upgrades and improvements, things that I'm going to be able to partake in. Again, I may start small, but I'm not going to stay small. I'm sitting and talking to you guys one-on-one. Tonight's not going to be a full hour. I've been speaking 23 minutes so far. I'm going to give you guys about 6-7 more minutes, and then I'm going to shut it down because, again, it doesn't take long to say what needs to be said. But I do want this to be a platform where I am allowing you to hear hope that no matter what you're going through, no matter what you are going through, if you are alive and well and you are listening to me, that tells me that you are 100%, you have survived 100% of everything that you have gone through in your life. And you're making it beyond where you are. Is all about how you think up here. If you think you can win, you will win. If you say you won't win, you won't. But and this is way off, way off. But somebody said this to me. We all started out winners. If we go back to biology, if we think about you know, the process of creation, there's a man when he ejaculates, there's so many sperm that are trying to reach one egg. One sperm out of all those sperm, one reaches that egg. That sperm is the winner. That sperm is you. Once it makes contact with that egg, it forms a baby. So that one sperm that won, that's a winner. You started out a winner. At what point do we start losing? All I have to do is go back to the beginning and remember I won then. And if I started out a winner, I'm not a loser. The only way I will lose in life is if I stop trying at all. But as long as I have breath in my body, I have an opportunity to create and to recreate myself, to invent and reinvent myself. I can keep moving forward. So again, I have to always check my energy. I don't want to be in my feelings. I don't want to be in my emotions. Again, I want to master my emotions and not let my emotions master me. Because again, remember, the person that is controlled by their emotions is the person that can be easily controlled and can be easily manipulated. And I just simply don't want that to be me. Um, I feel like I'm winding down because there's not a whole lot that I really had to say tonight. And I feel like I'm a little, I want to just take a minute for myself to just sit back, process some things with me, and to just enjoy being who I am. Um, I enjoy me. I love me. And one thing that I want to say to you is I want you to enjoy you. I want you to love you. And I want you to keep tuning in every Monday night, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time for the Chop with Marvin Lee. I have a relative of mine that we're gonna be getting together really soon. She's gonna be my guest. And we're gonna talk about some spiritual topics. And I'm not gonna say too much about that. You just have to log in because that's going to be quite a show. I have some other individuals that I have that I want to bring on as guests, and we're going to talk about some inspirational things. Again, this is where we talk about any solution to the problem that I think I have. We don't want to be focused on the problem. We want to focus on the solution. Let's chop about that. But we're going to continue to meet here same time every week, Monday night, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. I am your host, Marvin Lee. This has been the Chop with Marvin Lee. Again, I'm winding down. I hope you guys have the most phenomenal week. I will see you next Monday night, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Remember, check your energy. Don't ask yourself, whose energy are you in? Is it your energy or is it the energy of somebody else's? Be watchful and be wary of the energy vampires. Don't let them take you out. Thank you for chopping with me. See you next week.